What a mess Biden is leaving behind for Trump. Joe Biden is set to hand Donald Trump an extraordinary mess come January 20th. It's not just the staggering $36 trillion in federal debt, up $13 trillion since 2020, largely financed through risky short-term borrowing. Biden's legacy includes inflation that refuses to subside despite falling energy prices, a dangerously depleted Strategic Petroleum Reserve, dwindling weapons stockpiles, a Department of Justice facing a crisis of public trust, and billions wasted on failing ventures. Looking at you, Intel. Add to that an education system failing to equip kids with basic literacy skills, a housing crisis, a manufacturing slowdown, and much more. Biden also leaves Trump the unenviable task of disentangling the U.S. from Ukraine's war with Russia and re-establishing stability in the Middle East again. It's no surprise Trump is preparing to hit the ground running. If Biden were truly patriotic, he would spend his remaining weeks as president addressing the crises he created. Instead, his administration is doing the opposite, frantically spending every remaining dollar allocated by the misnamed Inflation Reduction Act, IRA, to prevent Trump's team from redirecting those funds. The IRA handed the White House $375 billion in taxpayer money to distribute at their discretion, managed by former Hillary Clinton campaign chair John Podesta. Yet, lacking private sector expertise, Biden's team has struggled to use the funds effectively. For instance, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg's $7.5 billion initiative for EV charging stations resulted in just 8 stations instead of the promised 500,000. Similarly, Vice President Kamala Harris's effort to expand rural internet access, backed by $42 billion, has seen little success. In Washington, leftover funds are akin to unwanted Thanksgiving leftovers. They must be spent. A Project Veritas investigation recently captured an EPA advisor admitting, "We're just trying to get the money out as fast as possible before they come in and stop it all." The advisor revealed money is being funneled to tribes, nonprofits, and states to make it harder for a new administration to reclaim. Even Elon Musk weighed in, suggesting the video implies the U.S. government is actively working to undermine the American people. Another example, Biden recently agreed with the American Federation of Government Employees to allow 42,000 Social Security Administration employees to continue working remotely, thwarting Trump's plans to reform the federal workforce. Biden's neglect also extends to critical resources. After draining the Strategic Petroleum Reserve in 2022 to ease gas prices during an election cycle, reserves now stand at their lowest level in 40 years, 392 million barrels compared to 638 million when he took office. Despite a slight recovery, the reserve remains ill-prepared for a serious energy crisis. Additionally, Biden's fiscal mismanagement is setting up future economic headaches. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen heavily relied on short-term borrowing to finance the federal deficit, with 30% of government debt now in short-term notes, double the 2023 figure. This strategy minimizes short-term political fallout but leaves future administrations grappling with higher interest costs. Meanwhile, Biden's policies are eroding key industries. Auto manufacturers are losing billions due to aggressive EV mandates, undocumented migration strains blue city budgets, violent crime rises as law enforcement faces backlash, and the military struggles with critical weapon shortages. These challenges reflect the numerous landmines Biden has laid for his successor. Instead of addressing these issues, Biden's administration appears intent on creating more.